Good morning, everyone. We are continuing here in the beautiful words of the Meishiv Nefesh. And he says over a fascinating idea today from the Arizal HaKadosh. Pamachas sha'alti l'morizal. Rav Chaim Vital, who was one of the main disciples of the Arizal, once asked his Rebbe the following question. Eich haya omer li shenafshi me'ula kol kach kenizke b'shal gegulim ba'orech. It appears from this question that Rav Chaim Vital, the great disciple of the Arizal, master of Kabbalah, of mysticism, with probably all of the Torah on his fingertips, a gigantic neshama in his time, he needed chizuk. He needed a little bit of inspiration. And he asked the Arizal, how is it possible that I could say that my neshama is so lofty and so elevated? Because in the previous generations of the Rishonim, the earliest commentaries, even the smallest of those Rabbanim, of those sages, they were righteous, they were pious, they were on such a high level, I wouldn't even be able to reach their heels. So how is it possible for me to look at myself in my generation as someone that has great koiches, great powers and strengths and spiritual abilities, when I can't even reach the heels of the smallest of the giants of the previous generations? A very good question. V'yoymar. And the Arizal answered the following. Da, you should know, ki gedulos hanefesh eino teluya kefi ma'aseh adam. The greatness of a person's nefesh, of their soul, is not dependent upon their actions. Rak kvi azman v'hador hahu. It goes according to the time, meaning the generational times that we are living in, v'hador, and that generation, that society that we are a part of. Ki ma'ase kotin ma'oid b'dor hazeh. The Arizal is talking about 500 years ago, because a small deed which is done in this generation, Shakil kekama mitzvahs bedoras harishonim. It is equivalent to many mitzvahs and commandments that were performed in the previous generations of the Rishonim, of the earliest of commentators. Ki bedoras ha'elu haklipa goiveres ma'oid ma'oid. Because in this generation, the klipa, the spiritual blockage that is in the world, is very, very strong. Ad ein kates, there is no end to how strong and powerful the forces of against the Torah and against our spiritual welfare is going in the world. Masha'in came b'doras harishonim. On the other hand, in the earlier generations, v'ilo hayisani ba'osan adoros. In the earlier generations, the klipa, the spiritual blockage, was not as great. They lived in a world that was much freer and healthier for spirituality. Said the Arizal the following words: "Ve'ilo hayisani ba'osan adoros." If I would have been in the earlier generations, meaning based on what I've accomplished now in my own life in this world, hayumaisai v'chachmosi nifloyim mikamet tzadikim harishonim. My actions and my wisdom would be considered wondrous, much greater than many of the righteous Rishonim of 1,000 years ago. Asher al kain shelo yitztayir al zeh klal. I don't worry about this at all. Ki bli safek, without a doubt. Yesh lenafshi ma'ila gedola. My nefesh, my soul, has a great advantage, and it's very lofty. Al kama tzadikim harishonim mizman tanoim amaroim, even greater than many of the righteous people in earlier generations, even going back to the time of the Tanoim, Rabbi Akiva, the Amaroim, and the sages of the Talmud. You hear what the Arizal is saying over here. The Arizal is saying that in every single generation, the more that the spiritual impurities of the world, of the environment, creates klipas, creates this blockage and these barriers between our neshama and Avinu Shebashamayim and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You should know that when you do a mitzvah, when you daven a Shmoneh Esrei, when you control one of your bad character traits, when you say a bracha with as little kavanah as you can muster up, when you do tshuva on Yom Kippur and you have goosebumps running up and down your spine during the Elah, when you are about simcha, you are happy with your lot and you accept HaKadosh Baruch Hu's judgment, when you see the good in others and you have Avas Yisrael and so on and so forth, it is worth so much in this generation. You cannot even begin to fathom the godless, the greatness that a person begins to achieve in a generation like we live in. We're 500 years after the Arizal. Who could imagine the klipos, the spiritual blockage that exists in the world today? And those of us living here in Los Angeles, you take one step onto the boulevard, you walk one block down the street on a Shabbos, you see one billboard over here, Rahman al-Itzlan. We know how strong the klipa, how strong the blockage is. And a Jew in that society, in 2018, in that generation, with all the people crawling around the streets the way that they are, he keeps Shabbos. He says a bracha on his food. He goes to shul and he tries to get there on time to be part of the minyan. He spent $50, $75, $100 on his little of an esrog this year, and he shook it the best that he possibly could not fathom, cannot imagine, cannot even dream how lofty that is in the eyes of Hashem, and how much elevated our neshamas are as a result of that. Sky is the limit in what a Jew in 2018 in America or in South Africa, wherever it is in Eretz Yisrael that a person is listening today, is sky's the limit on what we could accomplish in our dveikis, in our closeness to the Ribbono Shel Olam. May we be zeichem be'ez Hashem as we come to the beautiful Shabbos tonight and tomorrow to appreciate the bracha that HaKadosh Baruch Hu has given us, a day where we can block out the rest of the world and engage in true ruchniya spirituality, which will be elevating, lifting us up higher and higher and higher be'ez Hashem, even to points that the earlier generations themselves were not zeicher, were not privileged to achieve. Have a wonderful Shabbos and a wonderful day of Avodas Hashem.